The moment when you wake up after arriving at a place in the dark and you have your first glimpse of what's outside. I guess this could be part 2 of our EV road trip across Australia. Part 1, we drove from Sydney to Perth. Part 2 though, like, the mission's finished now. We've driven from Sydney to Perth, we've proved we can do that. So what are we going to do now? So we're at Bunbury now, and one thing I always find interesting is when you arrive at a town and it's dark, the first thing in the morning is you wake up and you see where you are. Well, first things first, we're going to go to Eton, where there's a Tesla supercharger there, and as many people say, oh, but you're standing around waiting all the time. No, we're going to be charging the car, but we're also going to be buying supplies from Woolworths, food and stuff, because we're going to be camping. We're going to do this on a budget. We're going to be doing it as cheaply as we can. So which means staying in caravan parks and camping a lot. So we're going to get supplies for that. Also, I'm running out of hard drive space for this camera. I've already got terabytes worth of footage coming across. We need another hard drive, so I've got to go into town and to buy those sort of supplies. So while we're doing that, the car charges. It's pretty easy. But before we head off shopping, it's time to explore a little bit. We'll have a look around the town, especially from here, the Milestone Lookout Tower overlooking town centre, and looking north over Point, what's it called? Casarina, I think it's called. Yes, and we're going to head off a quick look at Back Beach before heading off to Eton. At Bunbury or Eton Tesla supercharger. We've recharged it to 92% from 24% this morning. We couldn't get accommodation last night because the hotel didn't provide it, but it doesn't matter. With the superchargers here, it's fine. Yeah, so from here we're heading to Margaret River, version 3 superchargers. It's going to be super fast. So, yeah, we got 92% here. Didn't need it, obviously, but yeah, we're busy shopping, buying all the usual stuff back in the fridge, some fresh water, all that sort of stuff, and some all the tall stuffs you need when you go camping. And these flies. But before we get to Margaret River, we're going to stop for a quick swim in the Indian Ocean here at Dunsborough Beach. This place looks to be a fantastic holiday spot. Water was beautifully warm. The day is perfect. The water is crystal clear. And it's about now we remember we're in Australia. And that means everything's trying to bite you. I'll give you a minute. See if you can find it. Found it yet?
I can figure it out.
Don't worry, it's pretty harmless. Quite good at eating apparently, never eaten one. But yes, it did hurt. But we're fine. And so's the crab. After having our toes reattached, we decided it was probably safer to go and swim at Bunkers Bay. So that's where we're headed.
Didn't go like that.
Yes. This is Bunkers Bay. After a refreshing swim, it's time to head on to Margaret River. Seems like a very touristy trap kind of town, so we decided to move on.
Which cliff? Which one?
That one.
That one?
That cliff.
Right. No, it's which cliff, not that cliff.
We're not really impressed with Margaret River. We decided to head on to Augusta. And we had booked accommodation at the local caravan park, and when we arrived, it was blowing a gale. But we did have quite a cute welcoming committee once we did arrive. Now I've got to find the sun eyes, because it's windy out there, and it's going to be cold. But here we are, we made it to Augusta. The place isn't as big as I thought it would be. It was very much looks like a holiday / fishing village. Caravan park we're staying in tonight for the overnight charge is actually really, really good. Nice soft ground, they're happy to let us charge for free overnight, which is fantastic, and it seems like quite a nice modern caravan park, I guess. It's cool. At the moment, we're standing here, I'm assuming that's the Southern Ocean behind me, or directly in front of me, behind you guys, which will be right now, right there. As you can see, it is quite an angry looking ocean, I guess you could call that. Yes, we came through Margaret River. Now, driving through Margaret River is more like, reminded me a lot of the Barossa region in South Australia, in the Adelaide Hills. Yeah, and almost, pretty much like Cessnock. The main street of town was all a bit of a tourist trap, which I guess technically it is, I suppose, because everybody's heard of it and everybody wants to visit the place. But when you go behind a few streets into the shopping centres and the Bunnings, it's just like another sort of semi-rural town, I guess. Yeah, a tent's all set up now. Now we're just exploring the town. And I think down that way, somewhere another few kilometres, is the point where the Indian Ocean and the Great Southern Ocean meet. Over there is the Great Southern Ocean. Now if I just do this, over there, that's the Indian Ocean. In the middle, that's just a Model 3 EV. So yes, we have driven right to the bottom corner of Western Australia, where the Southern Ocean and the Indian Ocean meet. But before we head back to the caravan park, I just want to go check out a few things around the local area. Something's very interesting here, like this water wheel, and not to mention quite an epic sunset. Make sure you stop in for a good feed before you start your swim. It's a long way, and it gets pretty cold too. Good morning from Augusta. I had a pretty shit night's sleep last night because basically it was windy, 60k/h winds, gusting to 75 km/h all night, like the entire night. And for some reason, daylight saving, all that. The birds wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. So you got like thousands of cockatoos and galahs and corellas and things buzzing overhead of your campsite, making a hell of a racket at 4:30 in the morning after a night of 70, 60 km/h winds in a tent. So, not fun. Overall, yes, a stunning sunset last night. The town is actually really cool. I love this town. It's very sort of fishing village type holiday vibe, but not the tourist trap holiday vibe, if you know what I mean. Now we're on our way to Pemberton now, so we're heading back towards Norseman and to Nullarbor Plain. So Pemberton, and maybe on the Esperance later on this afternoon, depends how we go. Depends how time and stuff like that goes. But like I said, we're no rush, so we sightsee, we stop film stuff. And then we bring you along as well. Charging at Pemberton. I hear there's actually quite a big tree climb you can do around here, though I'm not quite in the mood to climb a big tree at the moment. Initially I thought it was a walk, but apparently it's a climb with like the pegs basically outside the tree and you climb up the tree. So now after this charge here at Pemberton, we're now going to go to 100% and go on to a town called Congenup, I think. Yes, these names are very unusual. Sound like they'll be named after First Nations people, which is a good thing. So that's the next stop, Congenup, another 50 kilowatt charger, and it is approximately 1 hour 57 minutes away, 167 kilometres. As from there, we're going to plan our next stop. So yeah, the car's now stopped charging at 89%. I don't know why, it just did. We're now powering up at Congenup, single DC fast charger here. We've just finished driving through Pemberton, I think it was, though the routing did take us via a dirt road, which is quite interesting. It means the car is now covered in that very unique red dust. So, quick change of plans. Now we're going to, where is it?
Grace.
Lake Grace tonight, because Ravensthorpe's a bit too far. And we're getting sort of sick of setting up the tent in the dark, it's annoying. Lake Grace it is. Good morning. It's bloody cold and it's, for the third day in a row, bloody windy. Unfortunately, this wind means it's a headwind. A 25 to 45 km/h headwind. Last night again was another night of no sleep due to, again, 40 to 50 km/h winds blowing through the campsite and countless trucks. But here we are at Lake Grace. Anyway, cool little town, single DC fast charger, which is in a perfect position. Sponsored by lots of awesome, super great people who with out there support. None of this would be possible. So big thank you to all our, I guess the founders, the ones, the pioneers that have helped funding all this sort of stuff. So that makes life doable for us EV owners to travel across this great, awesome country. Today we're heading to Hyden and Wave Rock. And from there, the big adventure begins. We've got 300 kilometres of dirt road, which means higher than average energy consumption into a 25 to 45 km/h headwind. So we're it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a slow trip. 300 kilometres are probably a lot lower than posted speed limits due to dirt roads and headwinds to save energy. But we'll see how we go. But anyway, here's the lovely town of Lake Grace and these awesome salt pans. I'm assuming due to the fact that a town just out of here had a model of like I think it was like a speed record type looking car. They probably use this salt pans to drive on, I think. I don't know. Have to look it up. Now the adventure part 2. We're here at Hyden. We just finished charging up to 100% on the 11 kilowatt hour 3-phase connection here at Hyden Tourist Stop, I guess they call it, or Traveller Stop. Yeah, 45 cents kilowatt hour, cost us $10, so it's pretty cheap. But now we're going to do 300 kilometres of dirt road to help get there. But the car's telling us we're going to arrive there with about 20% remaining from 100% full. For 300 kilometres on dirt, so see how we go. Halfway there now to Norseman, 160 kilometres to go. We've probably travelled about 160 kilometres on this dirt road. So, with the corrugations, they do make a big difference to your efficiency, quite substantial. We're down to about 65 kilometres an hour. We found that speed with this headwind and the corrugations and this road means the car's projection stays pretty much static, because we're around about 11.5%. So here's the energy graph so far. As you can see at the start of the trip, the road was sealed in that section, so we could easily keep ahead of our energy budget. Once you hit the dirt though, it's been steadily declining, this estimation, stating the wind's going to cost us 0.4%. That was at 1% earlier. But as you can see up ahead, there is quite literally nothing as far as I can see. To be honest, this feels more desolate than driving across the Nullarbor plain. It's pretty straight, it is across similar terrain, it's on dirt, and we've only seen, I think, 2 other cars in the whole of this 300 kilometre trip. Also, too, the Nullarbor plain has roadhouses always along it every 100 kilometres or so. This doesn't. Okay, we've finished the 300 kilometres of dirt. Energy use over that section was 186 watt hours per kilometre, 298 kilometres of dirt. Well, we did it with the headwind, corrugations, lots of dirt and dust, 186 watt hours per kilometre in a performance Tesla with 18-inch wheels and aero covers. If they're still there, haven't checked yet. Arriving with 13% battery. There's 200 kilometres tomorrow morning to Balladonia Roadhouse with the slow charger, fast charger. Medium charger. And we are going to go find this caravan park, set up our tent and bed and cook some dinner and go to sleep for another long day tomorrow. Hello, good morning from just outside Norseman. Well, We're now heading back across the Nullarbor, or towards the Nullarbor plain. We woke up last night with 63% charge after charging half the car on the 15 amp outlet after arriving with 13%, as you know, from the day before. When we're on the way to Baladonia Roadhouse with a 22 kilowatt DC average speed charger, I guess you'd call it. And from there on, we've got to cross Nullarbor. And thus we have arrived at Baladonia. For the next leg, we haven't decided where we're going to go yet, because we're going to probably stay overnight and find a motel, because 3 nights camping, it takes you out of here, and we're covered in dust, everything's full of dust. And we just want a nice bed we don't have to spend an hour setting up before we go to bed this time. The Caguna Roadhouse, chip fat charger, oil charger, cooking oil charger, whatever you want to call it. Arrived here with 10% stated charge. Now we're charging up to 100%, but we've got a bit of a problem. Accommodation. For some reason, everybody has decided to cross Nullarbor tonight. And all accommodation is booked out. And we've got a free camp, we've got a camp at the Roadhouse. And to be honest, camping facilities here are a little bit shit. The original plan was to charge up here to 100%, go to Munjabilla tonight, and carry on to free camp on the edge of the cliffs at the Nullarbor tomorrow night. Well, unfortunately, all accommodations booked solid, so we're stuck here. After 3 nights of reading, I'm getting a bit sick of camping. I need a home motel, and plus, I'm running out of memory space on all my cameras to download it, computers and stuff. And unfortunately, also too, because we're camping, it's forecast of rain, which I was hoping to not avoid. Nothing worse than camping in the rain and setting up and packing the car in the rain and packing wet tents and freaking nightmare. What can you do? The choice of adventures, I guess, hey? I'm thinking we should have slept in the car. Then you wouldn't have to worry about setting up the tent or unpacking the tent and packing it up in the rain. Having mud and dirt and water all through the car now, soaked, we're soaked, tent soaked, the car soaked. Sleeping in the car probably would be the best option. How do you stop this? Anybody, please. Oh, speaking of last night, Caguna Roadhouse. Awesome with the 50 kilowatt DC fast charger. That's cool. It's running on chip fat, which is even better. So it's carbon neutral, which is awesome. So all those people out there saying, yeah, but you're charging on DC generators running diesel. Well, no, chip fat. Even with diesel, still more efficient, but don't tell those people that. They don't want to listen to facts. Now on the way to Madura Pass for charge, as I mentioned earlier, which I just forgot. And we're going to try and finish today, if we can, at the Nullarbor Roadhouse. Which, mind you, we've got to book some accommodation before all the tourists book it up. Which happens quite a lot apparently this time of year. Who knew, right? It's Madura Pass. Here they have a 22 kilowatt DC mid-range charge, I guess I'd call it now. So we're charging out 22 kilowatts, or about 88 kilometres an hour. Actually 21 kilowatts with charging losses and things. So here on, we're going to charge to full, so it'll probably take about an hour, I guess. We're half full, probably an hour and a half. After which time we're going to go onto the Nullarbor Roadhouse. And the Nullarbor Roadhouse is going to be a long charge, probably 3 or 4 hours. Well, now we're pushing the range anxiety. So now we've got 374 kilometres to go to get to the Nullarbor Roadhouse. Of course, we've got the red bar of doom, charging needed to reach destination, we know that. It's telling us we're going to get there with minus 9%. Well, that's a bit of a challenge, don't you think? There is 2 charging locations between here and Nullarbor Roadhouse, Munjabilla Roadhouse and Air, I think it is, or Eucla, I think it's called. There's 2 charging options there as well, so if it says we're not going to make it at all, then we'll stop there for a quick splash and dash to get us there. Unfortunately, there is no accommodation at anywhere between here and Caguna. Our accommodation is here tonight, we're sleeping in the car. That's the situation. Range anxiety, nowhere to sleep. What can you do?
Runway.
Light production 0.2 now. We're going to make it. And just keep that line in the green. But that headwind though is costing us a lot. It's costing us 6.2% engine in this trip. Over a long leg too makes a difference. So.
So, this is our bedroom for the night. Our Tesla Model 3. All charging. Beautiful sunset. Look at that. Look at that sunset. Absolutely awesome sunset.
Good morning. It's 4 a.m. on the Nullarbor Roadhouse. And somebody else wants to charge their car. So, we let them plug in. And a perfect opportunity to enjoy a stunning sunrise over the Nullarbor. Not something you get to do every day. While trying to film some epic sunrise B-roll here on the Nullarbor Plain, our flying friend decided it had enough. We just wanted to chill out and watch the sunrise as well. Here we are, I've arrived at Ceduna with 23%. We left Nullarbor Roadhouse, the amazing sunrise this morning. It's very unusual for us to get that early, but we're sleeping in the car and somebody else wanted to use the charger. Yeah, lucky we only had a few minutes to go before reaching 100%. So, yeah, interesting. So now we're in Ceduna now, we're looking for accommodation tonight. We've already booked it in the same place we went last time. Interpretive shelter. Interpret that as you will. But here we arrived quite early. It's 10:30 in the morning. It's cars are 23%, so we've got a couple of hours before we can check in to get some laundry and stuff done. So we're just going to explore the town.
Hey, that's a bit of a turn off.
Good morning. Here we are, Puchera Hotel. Recharging the car right there on 11 kilowatts. Yeah, well here we are. We've just left Ceduna this morning. We left with 100% charge as we recharged overnight, 100%. So we got here with about 65%, heading on to Port Augusta. But yesterday was a bit of a very bittersweet day, unfortunately, because we left Caguna Roadhouse talking to a couple of guys who were repairing a Jaguar aircraft. Unfortunately, the pilot, who was not very confident in flying that aircraft, was going to fly back to Perth. But when he arrived at Ceduna, I read some news. Unfortunately, that pilot never made it to Perth. Despite the beautiful sunrises and the drive across the Nullarbor Plain in the early morning and the red sunrise and enjoying the beauty of it all, yeah, to be tempered by that was a bit of a downer day. Yesterday was just a quiet day, getting laundry done and yeah, reflecting on what happened and what could have been said, and not a pleasant day. Puchera or Puchera, Puchera? How do you pronounce it? I have to ask. Yes, a $20 fee, or more. You know, if you're going to use these charges in remote locations, please offer something, because I've heard stories of people just driving off and not paying, which is not the good thing. Doesn't make us the rest of us look good, put it that way. So today's on to Port Augusta, and we've got accommodation in at Port Augusta, again, overnight charging. After Port Augusta, we're going to stay there again tonight, head up to Woomera. That's where we're at. So now we're going to look around this town of Puchera. How do you reckon you pronounce it? Puchera? Yeah. Hello again. We've just left Port Augusta for a day trip to Woomera. We decided to go to Woomera, just have a look. I've been there before. But also go back to Port Augusta tonight, staying in the same place because the accommodation is actually really good quality and it's actually surprisingly cheap for the quality you get. And it's overnight charging as well at the, was it Oasis, Majestic Oasis Resort.
Yes.
But on the way here though, the weather's not looking the best. Looks like we were driving into some bad weather. Hopefully we'll get to Woomera before it hits. But we might, the car's telling us we should make it back to Woomera easily with a full charge. We should get to Woomera at 57%. But the roads might be wet, which means more energy use. So we might stop at the Pimba Roadhouse, or I think it's called Spuds Roadhouse, according to Plugshare. I think Kiwi EV would like that, Spuds Roadhouse. But yeah, but this weather's not looking the best. But also a storm over the desert does look kind of cool. The Eldo Hotel has changed. It's not the 60s icon sort of architectural place I thought it used to be. But private contractors now run it, so. Bud's Roadhouse. What we did, we left Port Augusta this morning, as you know, to visit Woomera. Have a look at Woomera. The place is pretty much closed now. Unfortunately, the Eldo Hotel, the pub, where I've had lunch here before, was closed and only available for dinners. We're not going to hang around for dinner at that. But we had a look at the rocket farm and everything else, as you can see. But big storm front passed through. No problem, storms in the outback are pretty cool. Hope we got some lightning on the videos, we don't know. But anyway, we had lunch here now at Spuds Roadhouse. Recharging 11 kilowatt, Spuds Roadhouse right there. $10 an hour and a decent hamburger too. But now, the front is past. The storms are way over there now. And behind the storms is a 45-kilometre-hour southerly. So yet again, we're driving all the way back to Port Augusta into another strong headwind. That's Spuds Roadhouse. Go inside, check it out. Some pretty interesting stuff in there. Lots of interesting military badges because it is quite literally next to Woomera. And definitely worth a stop and worth a look if you're travelling out this way. Good morning from Port Augusta. And where is it? That thing. The Sundrop Farm. Unfortunately, there's no like visitor centre or something you can look at. It's just a security gate. And that's it. But yeah, I thought there'd be a viewing platform or something around here, but there's not. It's just a dirt road leading to a gate and security guards, and that's it. But over there, tons of wind farms, massive solar farms, and the state of South Australia for the entire week has been more than 100% renewably powered. So that's super awesome. Oh yeah, as for the rest of the trip now, we're leaving Port Augusta, as you saw. Heading for Clair Supercharger, Clair Valley Supercharger. And from there on in, it's pretty much superchargers and fast chargers all the way back to Sydney. Fortunately, due to the flooding in the Murray, we're going to head south on the southern route into Victoria. We're not going to go back by Broken Hill, we've already been there. So we're going to head for Clair Valley Supercharger and plot our route there. I think probably go via Keith, I think is the next one after that. And by the time we get to the Victorian border, hopefully we find some accommodation. Hope so, it's coming up to Christmas, so who knows. Star Power Reserve. Big batteries over there. Big wind farm right there. Can't hear it much. I expect my ears to be exploding by now. We've arrived here at Clair Valley Supercharger. The first supercharger for quite some time now. But now we're back on the supercharger trail, so we can pretty much follow superchargers all the way around from Melbourne, Victoria, back up to Sydney now. So the travelling from here on in is going to be quite quick. But so we sort of expect to be in Sydney about 2 days from now. Unfortunately, there's a lot of flooding around the Murray River region, around this area, and there's also Christmas, so I don't know how we're going to go with accommodations. We've got to book that pretty much as soon as we can. This morning we drove from Port Augusta via Hornsdale Battery Power Reserve, which is the big battery, the big Tesla battery that was the first in Australia, and I think the biggest in the world at the time it was installed. And here we're charging. We're probably going to plan to Keith, I think, of the car's, the air conditioning water, that's all. Not me peeing, it's just the car peeing. But yes, from here on, planning the route around floodwaters. There's no point going back for Breaking Hill. I mean, we've been there and you've done that. The Hay Plains Road, probably not. I've heard bad things, it's very bumpy, and you're relying on single charges as well. So force more southern into Victoria, no problem. So we're probably going to head for Keith Supercharger, I guess, from there, and from there onto wherever accommodation is going to be.
Why buy ham for Christmas when you can lease ham at Leasingham?
Clair Valley to Keith Supercharger, non-stop. We arrived here with 14%. When we left Clair Valley, the car's telling us we're going to get here with 10%. But yeah, so made it quite well. And there's no wind. It's not windy. From here it's to Horsham. Overnight tonight, and Horsham, we probably might make it back to Sydney tomorrow, not sure.
Yeah.
We should do, but we'll see how we go. Good morning from the Tesla Supercharger at Horsham. We arrived here last night at about 9 PM. Stayed at a lovely little cheap motel with a gravel car park again. Skipped us away, everybody left. But yes, today is the last day of our massive epic journey from Sydney to Perth and back again. So it's 9:13 in the morning now. Sally's inside Woolworths there while we're charging, buying road trip snacks to keep us going while we're road trips. And the plan here is basically from here, Bendigo Supercharger. From Bendigo Supercharger, Wodonga Victoria Supercharger. Then on to Gundagai, then the Goulburn, and then home. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4 stops. The 1,000-kilometre challenge between Horsham and Sydney. Up to this point in the trip, we've covered 8,545 kilometres, using 1.5 megawatts of energy and an average efficiency of 1.77 watt-hours per kilometre. Now, I'm sure if I have a shave, it'd probably improve that efficiency, lose some of this weight around here in aerodynamic drag. Overall, the trip has been pretty fantastic, and to be honest, it's been almost 3 weeks now, day 15 or 16 you're at now, and I just want to get back home to my own bed and my own shower. But yeah, it's been an awesome adventure. But yes, the 1,000-kilometre challenge, let's go.
Get out of your head. Don't say it won't yet. Push the pedal and lay back. Take a breath and stay on track. Find what you've been searching for. Turn keys into every door.
1,000-kilometre challenge, first stop, Bendigo. The car predicted we'd get here with 30%. We arrived here with 25%. Well, 25 minutes to charge before we reach then get enough to get to our next destination. 5 minutes remaining to continue our trip. We've had a quick toilet stop, had a quick lunch, snack. And the next stop now is Wodonga.
Nobody knows where the wind will blow. How can they tell what the future holds? Get out of your head. Don't say it won't yet. Push the pedal and lay back. Take a breath and stay on track.
Arrived at Wodonga, 31%. Time is currently 4:30, and we're going to charge here for an estimated 15 minutes before we continue on to Gundagai.
Take a breath and stay on track. Your past is over.
Well, Gunter Guy arrived at 30%, and the car told us had 15 minutes to charge before we carry on to Goulburn. Well, I guess this is the most boring end to the second most epic road trip we can do in Australia. The first most epic road trip you can do being the Big Lap. Sydney to Perth and return, second most epic road trip. And we're here at the Goulburn Supercharger. Charging up now for the final run home, also the final run home for the 1,000 kilometre challenge. So, how many kilometres are we on so far? At this point, we're about 9,500 kilometres for total this trip as it stands.
9,426.
That's it, 9,426 kilometres we're done. So now we've got 180 kilometres back home, I think it is. Yeah, it's around about 180 kilometres left before we get back home. That's the end of our big trip. So, that's all that. But from here on in, it's basically just a boring run back to Sydney at night. So that's it, the most boring end to the second biggest road trip adventure you can do in Australia. So, if you enjoyed this journey, I hope it's provided you a lot of info what you can do with an EV in Australia, just how far you can go and how you can cross Nullarbor and travel big distances in this great, massive, huge land we've got. And we've started at the Pacific Ocean, we've gone to the Great Southern Ocean, we've gone to the Indian Ocean, and travelled across 4 states now: New South Wales, South Australia, West Australia, and Victoria. So yes, it's about this far. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming on this journey with us, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you get a lot out of it. So once again, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Like, comment, subscribe, usual crap. And until the next trip, which will be soon. Bye. Okay. Here's a rundown of our charging equipment we have taken on a trip from Sydney to Perth, across Nullarbor and return. Most common used items were the 15 amp extension cord, 15 amp plug extension cord, and the standard Tesla charger here with the 15 amp tail and the 10 amp tail. We're going to use a 15 amp. We use this at caravan parks and powered campsites and things like that. We use that quite a lot. The other most common charger was the 11 kilowatt 3-phase charger here, which has different tails. The tail we used pretty much the only time was the 3-phase 32 amp plug there. We have a tail for that, which is can be used for the 20 amp I think plug, I'm not sure. We use that a lot as well at the road houses, 3-phase. Can charge up to 11 kilowatts with that. This is just an extension cord for the 3-phase. It doesn't actually have a charger attached. It's just a double-ended 3-phase extension cord because you don't know how close you can park to your charger. Stuff we took that we didn't use was the Type 2 to Type 2 cable here, which you use for the those untethered chargers, the AC ones where you don't have the cable attached, you bring your own, that's it. The J7072 to Type 2 adapter. Again, we took these but we didn't use them. When you got really desperate, you got the 3-phase 240 volts 15 amp. Again, we took it but we didn't need it. And last is this little thing. It's a 10 amp plug, allows you to plug in a 15 amp power cord into that. But again, we did not use these three. Most common used was these at the power campsites and caravan parks. And this for the road houses. We didn't even need the extension cord, not once.